In this video, we're going to look at our third practice for impact calculus. This one's going to be a little bit different. In this one, I used a public forum topic to come up with two impact scenarios. And the topic in this case was on balance, charter schools are good. I believe this was one of the national topics from the last debate calendar year. And I didn't see any rounds on this topic, so I don't know exactly what some common impact scenarios were. But the main ones that I can imagine are first on the pro side, that charter schools solve for failing school districts. So that'll be our impact scenario there. Then on the con side is that charter schools kill public education. So I'm going to give the pro side, I'm going to give you an overview for an impact, some impact calculus there, why you should prefer that. And then after that, you can imagine that you're the con side and discuss, you can write out your, practice giving your impact calculus for instead why we should prefer public education, this side, over solving for failing districts there. So let's say, so I'm the pro side here, is that first, charter schools, there's good data that for students who do not have access to, great top-notch education, a lot of times charter schools do have good benefits there. That they have a track record for solving for underfunded school districts and under-resourced school districts. And a lot of times, because these are in big cities, this is millions of kids. So just in terms of the pure number of people helped, charter schools do, a ton of good. There's millions of kids every year that charter schools are able to benefit. Secondly, this is a lot more likely to happen. The probability that charter schools help these kids and give them a better education is a lot more likely because we see it happening now. We see large-scale changes happening through these charter schools. And that leads to a lot of students getting a better education. Lastly, I'm going to make a Turns case argument and say that by charter schools propping up districts that are already failing, by taking a lot of the students who are not being successful in traditional public schools, they're able to allow public schools to function at a capacity that is better than they would have otherwise. So that if we didn't have charter schools there, and the public schools had to, were on the hook for these students who need a lot more, individual attention, who need resources that the public schools aren't able to give them, that makes it more likely that these public schools are instead going to fail. So that's our Turns case argument there. So now go ahead and stop the video, and you can practice writing out, if you were on the con side, practice writing out, why should we prefer this impact scenario? Why is it more important that we save public education than addressing the failing districts part there? And one quick note, just in case you didn't debate this topic, the argument here for how charter schools kill public education is that schools get money per kid. So for every kid they have enrolled, that school gets dollars from the state, from the federal government, from the local governments. The money that a school gets is based on how many students they have enrolled. So the argument is that charter schools take kids from public schools. charter schools exist separately outside of whatever the local school district is, in some ways, in terms of funding sense. And so the argument then is that if I send my kid to a charter school, that is money that the local public school is not getting from that student there. And so when charter schools, when kids leave public schools to go to charter schools, that leads to that money leaving with them. So it leads to less money for public schools, which leads to less funded public schools. Less funded and less effective public schools. So, just in case you didn't debate that topic, or if you haven't had a chance to have a topic with sort of public education topics there, this is the general argument there. So now go ahead and write out why should this impact scenario, why is that impact scenario more important? Why is that a bigger impact scenario than our charter schools one over here?